So in the last class, we were discussing about cell adaptations. I told you what is hyperplasia, and we discussed about two different types of hyperplasia, that is hormonal and compensating hyperplasia that come under physiological hyperplasia. All right. Now, one second. Yeah. So as I was telling you, hyperplasia is increase in the number of cells. So as we have already looked at physiological hyperplasia, we'll look at pathological hyperplasia. Now this is occurring, as the name suggests, pathological. There is some disease involvement. So pathological hyperplasia. यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा? There is some disease that is affecting your endocrine glands. So, as such, for example, this is a hyperplasia that occurs due to stimulation of any hormone, okay, any gland that is getting affected by one particular pathogen or by particular disease. Okay, for example, अगर आपके pituitary gland पे, let's suppose there is a tumor, okay, or there is some damage to your pituitary gland. The enzymes that are being released and that are being triggered by your pituitary gland, they will start getting affected, and there is a good chance that they will they might start getting released in excess. So one example is endometrial hyperplasia that can occur due to excessive estrogen production. Whenever there is excessive stimulation from estrogen, so यहाँ पर because of a pathological condition, estrogen production is significantly increasing. Now, because estrogen production is increasing, endometrium will undergo abnormal growth more than normal. It will significantly grow. Because of that, you will see hyperplasia. So, what you are seeing is hyperplasia of endometrium, but the causative agent behind that is estrogen increase, and that estrogen increase is happening because of some other condition. Okay, so initially there is a disease that is occurring in a patient. Specifically, it will be a disease that is affecting their endocrine gland. Once this endocrine gland is affected, what will happen is this enzyme will start getting secreted in excess. What you see in a patient as a symptom will be the effect of that enzyme. Okay? The pathological effect that you see at the end will be because of estrogen. So estrogen की वजह से endometrium thickening हो रही and endometrium hyperplasia हो रहा. That you will see. And how you will see that is because of abnormal bleeding. There will be abnormally high amount of bleeding. Okay, and if you look at the blood, you will see a lot of endometrial cells, much more than normal. So from that you can assess, or even if you perform a CBP, you'll be able to see that the patient has way more than normal amount of estrogen running in their blood. अब उसके बाद आप pituitary का अगर scan करें तो you might find some problem with the pituitary gland because of that. So that is how you link it. ठीक है? Pathological hyperplasia उसको बोलते हैं. Because of a disease, there is hyperplasia occurring in a patient. Now, coming to hypertrophy, very similar to hyperplasia in a way. Hypertrophy. Hypertrophy में क्या होता? Number of cells increase होता. Number of cells means the size of the cell will increase, significantly increases. So it will look like swelling, but it is not exactly swelling. All the cell organelles and the whole cell in general will increase in size. All right, resulting in increased size of the whole organ as such. So, for example, let's suppose someone is having a condition wherein one example, if you classify hypertrophy, this is also of two types. You have physiological and you have pathological. Physiological का example can be breast tissue. ठीक है? Yeah, even if you take normal growth in a person from the time they are a child to a time when they are an adult, and in the stage where they are growing literally from a kid to an adult, you can see both hypertrophy and hyperplasia taking place. Right? It is not just that the number of cells in their body are increasing; it is also that each of these cells are increasing in size. Because of that, that is one example of physiological hypertrophy. Even if you take uterus, especially in case of pregnancy, the size of each cell that is present inside the uterus, that will increase. Yeah, during puberty or during pregnancy or during lactation, breast tissue will increase in size. Yeah, during growth, another growth, thoda ambiguous hai because in growth that is physical growth, you will have both hypertrophy and hyperplasia taking place. That is why a person will go from, a kid will be a couple of centimeters, about 20, 30 centimeters tall, and an adult will be much more, like 150, 160, 170, whatever their height is. So there is a significant increase in their height and, general weight as well. They will increase in size, both in number of cells and in the size of their cell. Then we have pathological hypertrophy. Pathological hypertrophy जो है, this is common in cardiac muscle. आपके हार्ट का टिश्यू जो है, स्पेशली पीपल हु आर हैविंग कार्डियोवास्कुलर डिसऑर्डर्स, हाइपरटेंशन है या डायबिटीज मेलिटस है या have any other cardiovascular disease that is specifically causing systemic hypertension. Okay, in the systemic circulation there is hypertension. Their blood pressure is significantly higher than normal. The normal blood pressure is supposed to be somewhere around 120 by 80 mmHg. ठीक है, यहाँ पर whenever you have grades of hypertension. Again, I'm not going into the details of hypertension. You'll have grade 1, grade 2 pre-hypertension, and other classification of hypertension. I'm not going into that. For now, just a rule of thumb: anything that is over 120 by 80 is abnormal. Okay, let's just call it abnormal, because again, based on different ways you categorize it, it can also be called normal in different populations. So if you take an Indian person, इनके अंदर आजकल nowadays what they are doing is they are taking 130 by 80 as normal or 130 by 90 as normal, especially because people of this generation are much more stressed because of the jobs and whatever the reason is. Okay, so even if someone has 130 by 80, 130 by 90, it is considered somewhat normal. They just make slight lifestyle changes and things like that. Just consume a better diet and perform a little bit of physical exercise. Exercise regularly, even if you are walking and all. Just do that, and it will come back to normal. So in any case, यहाँ पर because of hypertension for a long period of time, what will happen is, I'll give you one example. अब अगर hypertension हो रहा, let's suppose someone has hypertension and their blood pressure is somewhere around 140 by 90 normally. Okay, even when they are at rest, let's suppose their blood pressure is around 140 by 90. That's significantly high. Now, this is fine once in a while, but imagine if someone has sustained hypertension for years together. They are not taking any medication, and even if they are taking medication, sometimes what happens is such a sustained damage, the damage that accumulates because of this sustained increase in hypertension. What happens is, अब आपका blood एक normal rate पे flow होने का है. Your blood is supposed to flow at a normal rate. That pressure or the rate at which it is supposed to flow will be determined by the pressure that it has. Okay, for example, if someone has normal blood pressure that is 120 by 80, let's suppose that blood is flowing by x speed. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, x speed से flow हो रहा. But technically speaking, it will take one circulation around your body within 1 minute. Roughly around 5.5 liters of blood will make a whole circulation around your body within 1 minute. That speed is maintained by this pressure. Without this pressure, your body will not be able to maintain that speed of blood, and it is facilitated by the pumping of your heart. ठीक है, यहाँ पर क्या होता? Think of it in this way: if blood pressure is increasing, ठीक है, the speed of blood, the speed at which the blood is traveling, that increases. So imagine this is x plus 2. Example, okay? यहाँ पर speed at which the blood is flowing, that is increasing. But the problem here is, generally peripheral tissues and deeper tissues, they will not be able to get enough oxygen and enough nutrients at this phase, because your blood is supposed to, this is considered normal because at this blood pressure, each and every part of your body is able to function normally, meaning all the functions of the blood are also being performed at a normal pace. But one of the main functions of blood is to make sure that it is supplying oxygen and nutrients to all organs, right? All tissues, all cells. If you increase the speed, there is a good chance that those nutrients and oxygen will not have enough time to get transferred from blood to that specific tissue. Okay, because it is moving around at such a high pace, what will happen is the total amount of oxygen and the total amount of nutrients, especially if it is concentrated in one single part of your body. Let's suppose someone is having a blockage in embolism or some problem in their liver, where their liver is not getting, a part of their liver is not getting enough amount of oxygen because of sustained damage. Now what happens is, because hypertension goes on for years together, it will start damaging blood vessels. Once one particular blood vessel is damaged, let's suppose that a main artery or one main blood vessel of a liver is damaged, what will happen is that particular area will start getting affected. Let's suppose this area is getting affected and that area is not getting enough amount of oxygen. What will happen is this fellow will give a signal to your brain. Okay, the signal will be that look, I'm not getting enough amount of oxygen and enough amount of nutrients. The brain will think that the blood is not flowing with enough pace and the blood is not doing its duty properly. So it will in turn increase the rate at which your heart is supposed to beat. So technically, आपका 72 से let's suppose it is rising to 90. ठीक है? Your this thing beats per minute. Right, heart rate. That is increasing from 70 to 90, from 72 to 90. Now, for just a small instant, that is fine. Let's suppose you're physically exerting yourself. But if this damage is continuous, okay, and it is continuously sending a signal to your brain, which in turn is sending a signal to your heart saying that, see, the blood is not doing enough function, you have to pump even harder. What will happen is because of this increased rate at which your heart is beating, blood will start the blood pressure will increase further, increasing this problem even more. Because the problem started out, there was hypertension because of which that particular organ or that particular part of the body was not getting enough amount of oxygen. Ye area. If you increase blood pressure even more, this problem will worsen. And eventually what will happen is, because your heart is beating so fast, at one point of time, to bear the brunt of that speed up, literally, imagine about it this way. If you start running around, let's suppose every day you wake up in the morning and you start running every day. Within 1 month or 1.5 months, you will be able to see that your leg muscles are getting developed. Right? They will start becoming stronger and they will start becoming bigger. The same thing will happen with your heart. Okay, as it continuously keeps on beating more and more, your cells, your cardiac cells will adapt. To keep up with the demand, they will literally undergo hypertrophy. So they will become larger in size. That is pathological hypertrophy. ये pathological hypertrophy इसलिए बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि it is starting off with a disease condition which is hypertension. Okay, I hope you understood the story here. Hypertension हो रहा पहले. I'll just give you a brief overview of what is happening. Someone is having hypertension and they are not dealing with it properly. Eventually what happens is one or the other blood vessel of some organ will start getting affected, wherein that organ will not, one part of the organ or the organ itself will not get enough amount of oxygen and nutrients. That organ will send a signal to the brain telling that, see, I'm not getting enough amount of oxygen and nutrients. And the brain will give a sympathetic stimulation to your heart, telling it, see, there is not enough amount of blood reaching that particular area. Please increase the speed at which you are working, or increase the pace at which you are working, so that that particular area also gets oxygen. This will cause an increase in blood, your heart rate. Because of which, eventually what will happen, hypertension will go up even more. The blood pressure will go up even more, worsening the problem. All right. And if this keeps on going for a long period of time, your heart muscles will have to adapt. Your cardiac muscles will adapt to the total amount of workload, because workload is significantly increasing. 72 पे काम करना है, 90 पे काम कर रहा हो. Because workload has significantly increased, your heart will adapt by increasing its size. Generally, you will see this in left ventricle. So LVH, I'm sure you must have seen this in case sheets. Left ventricular hypertrophy, because left ventricle is responsible. The contraction of left ventricle is responsible for sending oxygenated blood all over your body. Left ventricle is the main one that will first get hypertrophy. That will become thicker and thicker, and you'll be able to see a significant increase in the size of the left ventricle of people who have hypertension for several years. Okay, you might even see LVH in people who are like 40s or 50s. So that is pathological hypertrophy. आप एक और जगह दे सकते हैं pathological hypertrophy. If ऐसा देख सकते हैं, technically speaking, that is also hypertrophy. You cannot exactly categorize it under pathological, but as I told you, one example, imagine if you get up every day and start running around in the morning. Let's suppose you run for 1 hour. You are running for 1 hour. Imagine athletes, okay, track and field athletes or any athlete for that matter. They will have significantly overdeveloped muscles. because they are doing one particular task over and over and over again. Okay, whether or not they are strength athlete or whatever type of athlete they are, even if they are a cricketer, okay, they are running around a lot, so their muscles will be significantly more developed compared to a normal adult, a normal individual. So that is also a type of hypertrophy. Their body is adapting, the cells are adapting for that matter. So that is about hypertrophy. I hope you understood what is pathological and physiological hypertrophy. If you have doubts, please feel free to ask. You can stop me at any time in between as well if you're not understanding anything. Now, coming to another cellular adaptation, we have atrophy. Now, atrophy literally means decrease in size. Okay, decrease in size and function of a cell. Okay, atrophy can be both physiological and pathological. So, atrophy is decrease in size and function of a cell. Okay, this is of two types: physiological and pathological. Now, when does it occur physiologically? Let's suppose if we take old age, okay, someone is getting older, and if you look at the neuronal tissue of that person, I'm talking old by the sense in the sense 70s, 80s, 90s. Okay, let's suppose if you compare two individuals, one whose age is around 30, okay, 20 to 30, and another whose age is around 80 to 90, you can clearly see that even if you compare the same individual over the years, imagine you tested that individual's neuronal tissue mass at the age of 30 and you are testing it again at the age of, let's suppose, 70. You can see significant decline and significant decrease in the total amount of functional brain tissue, a significant decline in the total number of neurons that are working properly. Okay, that is because of atrophy. That is simply the process of aging. The same will happen in menopause. Okay, whenever a lady is undergoing menopause, uterus and gonads, they will undergo atrophy. Okay, they will decrease in size and the function of that cell will be significantly or completely lost. That is atrophy. Okay? Pathological atrophy can occur uh, in three ways pathologically. So one way is starvation. Okay, let's suppose you are not feeding that particular tissue properly. Now, starvation atrophy cannot अब आप बहुत तरीके से बोल सकते हैं starvation atrophy, but the simplest definition is you are not eating enough food. Okay, that is causing starvation, and that starvation is leading to atrophy. Hence, that's called starvation atrophy. You're simply not providing enough stimulus for your body to keep the muscle mass or keep the fat mass or whatever keep normal function alive in your cells. So it has to literally let go of cells. Right? They will start decreasing in size, and the function of several cells will be lost. You can literally see shrinkage in the body size of people who are starved. Okay. Then there is ischemic atrophy. So one is starvation atrophy. These are pathological types. Okay. This is not something that is normally supposed to occur. Physiological atrophy is something that occurs normally. With age, it will occur normally. Pathological atrophy is not something that should occur normally. Starvation hai. Then there is ischemic atrophy. Ischemic atrophy occurs when one particular organ or one particular tissue is not getting enough amount of oxygen. All right, because blood supply and nutrients are not being provided to that particular tissue or that particular cell, it is undergoing function. It is undergoing atrophy. It is losing its function. It is decreasing in size, and eventually it will die. All right. Before death, you will see atrophy of those cells. Another type is disuse atrophy. What is disuse atrophy? For example, let's suppose there is a person who had an attack of, suppose someone who had stroke, okay, ischemic stroke or whatever type of hemorrhagic stroke form, which caused paralysis in those patients. Let's suppose it caused left-sided paralysis. Example, their left arm and left leg were paralyzed. Right now, by the time let's suppose they are taking some time, they are undergoing rehab, and slowly, they are starting to use their left arm and left leg. But till the time that they are not using it, the muscle and the total function of the left side of the body will decrease significantly. because the cells of those side of the body are undergoing atrophy. Now you will also see this in cases where patients will not be able to recover altogether. Okay, imagine you see a patient who is, how should I put it? Imagine there is someone who does not use their left arm for years together. Okay, just for an experiment sake, let's suppose someone is not using their left arm altogether. They used to use it up to their childhood, and let's suppose even up to their adulthood. Somewhere around 25 or something, they started an experiment where they stopped using their hand, left hand altogether. Okay, what will happen is over the years, because this will generally not occur in normal conditions, but until and unless there is a main, something like paralysis occurring in that area where you cannot use it, rather than you're willingly not using it, and suppose that part is paralyzed and you're not able to use it at all. Because of disuse, your body will not send enough amount of nutrients or blood to that particular area. Even if it is kept alive, it is because of disuse, it will shrink in size literally. Okay, so that is disuse atrophy. I hope you are able to correlate what is happening. You can significantly see this in people who have, lower limb atrophy, lower limb paralysis, for a wherein there is no chance of them to recover within a few years, even if they are using a wheelchair. Let's suppose they are getting paralyzed at the age of 35. God forbid, but let's suppose someone is getting paralyzed at the age of 35. Uh, their lower limbs are getting paralyzed. By the time they reach up to 37, 38, you will be able to see that because they are not using their legs, they'll visibly shrink. They might be alive. There will be cells which are functioning. They will be alive, but they become significantly smaller and they'll become significantly thinner. That is because of atrophy, right? Disuse atrophy. Then we have metaplasia, another cell adaptation. Now, metaplasia जो है, it is a condition in which, under a certain stress, some certain type of stress, your cells are undergoing a reversible change. Okay, they are adapting it in such a way to abnormal stimuli that they are changing their shape and their form. Okay, इसका मतलब क्या है? फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके लेट्स सपोज आपका मेटाप्लेशिया दो टाइप का रहता, एपिथेलियल एंड मेसेंकाइमल. ठीक है, epithelial metaplasia again has two types, squamous and columnar. We'll understand a little better with an example. So for example, if I'm telling someone's cells are undergoing, let's suppose someone's kidney is undergoing squamous metaplasia. If I tell that, it means that because of a certain stress, because of some type of injury, their normal kidney cells, whichever shape they were, they are turning into squamous cells. Okay, this is a change. It is a type of change due to chronic irritation. Now, this irritation can be mechanical, it can be chemical, it can be infective in origin, whatever it is. The cells are adapting in such a way that they are becoming squamous. Okay, or even columnar for that matter. Because of certain conditions, they are transforming from normal epithelium to columnar epithelium. One example is intestinal metaplasia. Whenever there is chronic gastric ulcers, okay, healed chronic gastric ulcers, mein, the person will have intestinal metaplasia. Right? The intestinal cells in their body, they will undergo metaplasia. They will become columnar. A normal epithelium will become columnar. Bear in mind that this is reversible, meaning once that stress is removed, once your body is able to recover from the stress, the cell will go back to its normal shape. Okay, so that is metaplasia. Now you can also have mesenchymal metaplasia, wherein mesenchymal metaplasia is of two types: osseous and cartilaginous. Okay. Now, as the name suggests, mesenchymal metaplasia में क्या हो रहा? एक cell is undergoing either bony changes where osteocytes are accumulating in that area and osseous transformation is occurring. So you literally see that the tissue, whichever is undergoing metaplasia, it is looking like a bone. So slowly it will start getting hardened and it will start transforming into a bone. Again, depending on the stress, if you remove that stress, they might go back to normal. सेम फॉर कार्टिलेजिनस, अगर कहीं पर भी कार्टिलेजिनस मेटाप्लेशिया हो रहा, one type of cell is transforming into cartilaginous cells, and you remove that stress, it will go back to normal. So that is mesenchymal or epithelial metaplasia. One type of cell transforming into another type of cell under certain stress. Now the stimulus, the abnormal stimulus that is causing such a change can vary a lot. One thing is that if the stimulus is occurring again and again, if there is persistent stimulus from such an abnormal stimuli, whichever stress is occurring, let's suppose that is occurring again and again, there is a chance that after a while, this metaplasic cells, the cells changing that are changing their shape, which are undergoing metaplasia, they can become cancerous. They can become malignant. There is a chance. अगर वही stress बार बार आते गया, let's suppose whatever injury that is causing metaplasia to occur in the first place is repeatedly occurring again and again, it can lead to malignancy in that cell which is undergoing metaplasia. So bear that in mind. Then we have the last type, which is dysplasia. Now dysplasia में क्या होता? There is alteration in size, in shape, and organization of cellular components. So here there is alteration in size, shape, and organization. Generally speaking, dysplasia में more commonly hyperplasia and metaplasia दोनों होते हैं, ठीक है? That is why it is called typical hyperplasia. Generally, not always. Dysplasia में you will be able to see both hyperplasia occurring and you will be able to see metaplasia occurring. Okay, so the cells will divide rapidly and they will change shape rapidly. They will change quite a lot of shape. Mostly squamous epithelium. The squamous epithelium will undergo dysplasia very commonly. So अगर वो हो रहा तो it will change its it will make several copies of itself and it will start changing its structure altogether. Okay, so that will be typical hyperplasia. उसको dysplasia will be. So those are the 4 different types of cell adaptations. Now we'll discuss about morphology of reversible cell injury tomorrow, wherein I will tell you what are cellular swelling, hyaline change, and what is necrosis, apoptosis. Hopefully, we'll even discuss what is infiltration and regeneration in the next class. All right. If you have doubts, please feel free to ask right now. You can put in the chat as well. Till